Hey there, deep and wide thinker. I just wanted to create this video to show kind of behind the scenes of what's going on whenever I go on a walk and I begin to think about an idea. What does that actually look like? So I'm diving into. I mean, this is real and raw, like unedited, all that kind of stuff. I just want to show you exactly how it all panned out. From me thinking about an idea from a book in the Bible. Whether you read the Bible or not, I think this will be useful for you when it comes to thinking deep and wide and note-taking, all that stuff. So this is jumping in right in the middle. So what are we looking at right now? We're looking at the app Mem. You can use whatever app you are comfortable with, but I'm using Mem, and I'm looking at two different notes right now. The left side is going to be kind of my notes, and so I don't forget things. The right side is the actual note, but I may turn these into multiple notes. We'll kind of see how it goes. But I wanted to show you exactly what's going on here and how this started. I was actually walking like I normally do. I walk in the mornings for about 45 minutes to an hour. But I opened the Bible app on my phone and I landed on Psalm 96. And I don't even remember reading through that. Maybe I do. I don't know. But I decided to stay on Psalm 96. Right? Nothing immediately jumped out until I started reading the first verse of that chapter. And sometimes, the best insights come when you just kind of let your curiosity wander without a plan. That's how I tend to find the richest insights, is I don't have a plan. I'm just kind of following my curiosity. It's one of my favorite things to do. Hey, before we keep going, I do want to let you know about something that's really cool that I think you will like. So if you're anything like me, ideas, they don't just come and go, right? Sometimes they knock. Sometimes they're loud. Sometimes it's a whisper. But keeping track of them and making space for your ideas to breathe and turning scattered thoughts into something meaningful, sometimes that can be overwhelming. The Idea Mansion is my way of helping you do just that. It's a simple, human-centered approach to collecting and shaping and connecting your ideas, all without drowning in notes or complicated systems. Just imagine your ideas living in a mansion that you design. Each thought is a room that has purpose and is able to grow and expand. I put all of this into a 28-page guide that you can print or download or send it to Kindle, whatever feels right, whatever you need. And let me tell you, this isn't about being a knowledge worker, right? It's about being an idea lover. Someone who plays with thoughts and explores possibilities and discovers new connections. If that sounds like you, I'd love for you to check out the Idea Mansion guide. The link is in the description below. Okay, so this is the verse. Sing to the Lord a new song, sing to the Lord all the earth. So the word sing, the word new stood out to me. And all the earth, that phrasing stood out to me. And so what I did was I jumped in to Chat GPT. All right, let me show you right here. This is Chat GPT, and I'm just going to focus in on this conversation because I am finding that I really enjoy thinking through conversation, right? And this happens really easily with a tool like ChatGPT. So it starts out with me kind of just saying, hey, this is what I find interesting about this verse. All right, and so it goes into a few different things about creativity and inclusion. But what I really wanted to do was break down the original language of the verse. Because when I break down the original language, or when I get the breakdown, it helps me see underneath the surface. So a lot of the times, the words that I read in a translation don't quite do it justice what the words actually mean in the original language. So I like to look it up and see what is actually what is the word even, like, what is it saying, because it could mean something a lot deeper than what is being communicated in the translation. So a couple different things. Principle number 1, like I said, this is real and raw right here. Follow your spontaneous curiosity. I've talked about this a lot on the YouTube channel, and I will continue to talk about it because it is something that I love to do, and I think it's very effective. And then principle number 2 is zoom in on the details. The thing that I just mentioned, how you can use this for not just the Bible, but you can use it for other ideas. Zooming in on words and phrases and just kind of sitting with those for a little bit before moving on. I think you'll find some insights that way. So when you read, slow down, look closely at the details. The smallest piece might even open a new door. And that leads to principle number 3, which is to sit with attention instead of rushing past it. And this came in because I'm going to go back to ChatGPT, where it breaks down the original language. And what's interesting is that the word new here, meaning new, fresh, renewed, or freshly created, and it implies something novel or not previously existing. So sing a new song. This was interesting because I don't know why I thought of this, but I immediately thought of another verse in Ecclesiastes. I think it's chapter 1, verse 9, where it says there's nothing new. This is the author Solomon writing about this. There's nothing new under the sun. And actually this is interesting because his dad, David, wrote the psalm that we're looking at in here, Psalm 96:1, where it says, sing a new song to the Lord. But then Solomon, who is the son of David, is saying there's nothing new under the sun. I know that God doesn't contradict himself, right? So there had to be a reason. There had to be like a connection and a way to explain why this Psalm 96 says this, Ecclesiastes says this, but they're contradictory. But what's going on there? So, and that's the idea behind principle number 3, is to sit with the intention or the tension instead of rushing past it. And the idea in Ecclesiastes, because I ended up looking it up. This also, by the way, on the right hand side, this is the chat. I just copied and pasted it into it so I can just stay here instead of going back and forth. Let's see. Okay, so I said, can we break it down in the original language? And then, let's see, I'm going to fast forward a little bit. Yeah, this is where I said this. Let's go back to the idea that it's a song that's never been sung before. It's never been created before, which tied to the idea of Ecclesiastes of, well, there's nothing new under the sun. That's often quoted, right, when we're talking about creativity. There's nothing new under the sun. Like, it's just remixing old ideas, all that kind of stuff. But as we unpack Ecclesiastes 1:9 and Psalm 96:1, they are not contradictory. They are two different contexts, which is very, very important, especially when you're reading the Bible, to understand the context. And this is what I love here. From a human-only perspective, history repeats. But from God's perspective, every fresh worship and praise is new because it flows from a fresh encounter or a fresh revelation of Him. The new song is an invitation to participate in God's ongoing creativity and renewal, something that never existed before in your personal or communal experience. So this is when I came in and I said, just to get clarification, is the verse in Ecclesiastes, is it saying apart from God that there is no way to create something new, but with God, you can create something new? And then there's this idea that this new song that you sing in Psalm 96 is actually not new because you wrote a new melody or came up with a new chord progression or anything like that. It's actually new because you have experienced God in a new way. And so when you sing from that place, it becomes new because no one else in the world has experienced what you've experienced and can sing the song that you can sing. That's why it is a new song. Sing a new song. Now, I know you may not believe in the Bible or read the Bible, and this may be, but I want you to hang with me here because I'm sitting with the tension, and as I'm sitting with the tension, I'm not just rushing past it saying, okay, well, this says one thing but the other says another thing. I guess it's just two different things, or it's contradicting itself. No, I've sat with it long enough so that I could glean an insight for both Ecclesiastes, which the context is more around, the fact that from a human's perspective, yes, history does repeat, but with God, no, it does not. Right? Which we'll get to how this connected to another idea for me in just a second. So I had that revelation. Principle number 3, sit with attention. Then principle number 4 is to notice the purpose behind each word. This came from me noticing as I'm continuing, right? And this whole time as I'm having this conversation on the right here, I'm walking and I'm just reading through what GPT is saying and putting in there. And then I'm thinking about it, and I'm posting back, what these questions and these ideas and these thoughts. And this is what it looks like. This is this is how thinking deep and wide, or at least my process, looks like, so that I can continue to get these insights. But here, I noticed the verse that says sing a new song. Right? There's another word that I noticed. Sing a new song. Not write, not compose. Right? So I looked into this word sing, and it started to make sense, because to sing is it involves a lot of different parts of your body, but it's something that can happen immediately. When I write, it's going to take time. When I sing, I can sing right now. I don't need to wait to write like if I were writing. I can sing. So I started looking into that. Let me see if I can get caught up here. Here we go. All right, so connect ideas. Principle number 5, connect ideas widely to see bigger patterns. All right, I connected this to Ecclesiastes again, the idea that human creativity can feel like it's just remixing what's old. But with God, creativity is endless, it's fresh, it's ongoing. So when you're thinking, try to step back and see how this small idea fits into a bigger story. That's where fresh perspective comes from, and wide connections. And then this is something as well. Principle number 6 is to use tools to keep your thoughts flowing. Specifically, when I was walking, I used the speech-to-text in GPT to capture my thoughts. I still have the free version of GPT. I don't pay for it. But I find that very helpful at least when I'm walking and I need to express my thoughts and I'm really raw. I'm saying a lot of ums. I'm pausing for a moment. I'm like, I don't have to rely on the speed of me typing, because sometimes I type slow. Or text slow, so I can just think out loud, and as I think out loud in the way that I naturally do, GPT will catch all of it, and then it turns it into text for me. So that is something that, if you haven't tried that before, you should try it. It's freeing for sure. I'm going to scroll down here a little bit, because this is my raw notes right here of what actually happened. There is a realization, and that's why this whole note right here is titled New songs to God are birthed from encounters with God. And then I have the Psalm 96 one. Speaking of titles, right? I pasted this whole conversation inside of one single note. I've been doing that lately because I've been dialoguing and thinking in dialogue with GPT. That's become something I'm experimenting with. But when it comes to the title, this title is the insight. It's the revelation that I had, the one thing that I'm like, this is what I need to know when I return to this note. And I can go through the context by scrolling through the conversation. But at first glance, this is what I should read. And this is the insight. So my titles become insights for me. And it is a very, very powerful insight. It's not necessarily the verse that I read, and it could be if that's what I feel like is the insight. But for me, I felt like this is the big insight. New songs to God are birthed from encounters with God. That is the meaning of Psalm 96:1 when we talk about new songs. It is not a new melody. It is not, a new melody, and just, for the sake of it being a new melody like that nobody's ever heard before. It's new because it's from you, because you've experienced God in a new way. So it's opened my eyes, and that's what I put. Now, that's one of the revelations that I had. But there was another revelation. Or not a revelation, but more of just a thought. And that is that here, about Ecclesiastes. It often gets quoted as a dead end, or a creative dead end, but when you bring God into the picture, the whole horizon shifts. Like, that is something that I've heard it quoted on, like, over and over and over again, like that, there's nothing new under the sun, right? But that is true partially, but it's not all the way true. Because if you believe that God is creative, which the very first part of the Bible talks about it, in the beginning God created, He made things, He made the earth. But not only that, like, this is the other thing that I thought of that led to this other thought. God is all about the new. Like, He creates sunrises every morning, right? There is a new sunrise every morning, and it's completely different and unique from the one before. The colors, the way that they hit the clouds, maybe there are no clouds, right? It's just all different and unique. And then there's another verse that says His mercies are new every morning. So God is all about the new. That's something else that has popped out in this conversation, all around one single idea. Sing to the Lord a new song, sing to the Lord all the earth. So I'll summarize here with these principles. Number one is to follow your spontaneous curiosity. Number two is zoom in on the details. 3 is sit with attention instead of rushing past it. Notice the purpose behind each word. Connect ideas widely to see bigger patterns, and use tools to keep your thoughts flowing. And then finally, I actually didn't share this. Share what you discover to encourage yourself and others. I took this idea of Psalm 96:1, and I thought somebody else needs to hear this. Somebody else needs to know that singing is not just reserved for worship leaders. It's not just reserved for people that actually have a gift to sing. Singing is reserved, especially when it comes to singing to the Lord, the new song, that's reserved for everyone. It is a call to everyone, where it says all the earth. Sing to the Lord, all the earth. Right? So I wanted to not only have this be with me and encourage me, because it has encouraged me, but I thought this needs to go out into the world. So I made it into a Substack post with the help of ChatGPT, and I created a post that I put online this morning so that people who need to hear it can hear it, and they know that they have a song that they can sing, and that it's a new song because they've encountered God in a new way. All right. Thank you for tuning in. If this was helpful, let me know, and I'll see you next time.